is to try to get to the place where we can add integers. But we're going to start by using some symbols to help us represent them and help us to understand what's really happening when we're adding integers. So here in number 1 we've got a stream of plus signs in 2 different rows. So if every plus sign represents a plus 1, and the future problems every dash or kind of minus looking symbol represents minus 1, we're going to give like a value to each row of numbers here. So in the first row there are 10 plus signs, so that's like positive 10. And in the second row there are 6 plus signs, so that's like a positive 6. So if we added them together, basically if we counted how many plus signs are there in the 2 rows together, there are a total of 16. Great. Another example, we have the first row has a total of 12 plus signs, and the second row has a total of 13 plus signs. So all told, there are a total of 25 plus signs. Great. That's just kind of setting us up from arithmetic we already know. But now let's look at some minus signs. So in this first row of minuses here, there are a total of 14 minus signs. So that is going to represent the number negative 14. The second row has 6 negatives in it, so that's representing negative 6. So right now we're just sticking with adding. So if we add negative 14 to negative 6, it's the same as thinking about how many minus signs are there all total. If you counted the 2 rows, all the minus signs that you found in both rows, you would see that there are 20 minus signs. So this visual can help us understand that negative 14 plus negative 6 is equal to negative 20. There's 14 negative things, 6 more negative things, for a total of 20 negative things. Let's look at another example. In the first row in number 4, there are 9 negatives. In the second row, there are 14 negatives. If we were to count them all up, there are a total of 23 negative signs. So negative 9 plus negative 14 is negative 23. Now things get interesting in number 5. In number 5 we have a mixture of pluses and minuses. So to help us with that, it helps to, we'll first just kind of assess that there are 8 positives and there are 5 negatives. So how do we figure out what the sum total of that is when we have some positives and some negatives? Well, if we peer closely at these, a positive will cancel out a negative. So we can go through and cancel positive for negative, and our answer is going to be what's ever left over. So we have 3 positives left over. So we can say that 8 plus negative 5 is a positive 3. 3 positives left over, negatives and positives cancel each other out. All right, we have another example. Number 6, there are 10 negatives and there are 4 positives. So if we go through and we cancel, we see that there are 6 negatives left over. So this is negative 6. You might kind of notice that in number 5 there are more plus signs left over, and in number 6 there are more minus signs left over. If you think about that, that's kind of because in number 5 we started off with the positive number having the biggest absolute value, and in number 6 we started off with the negative number that had the biggest absolute value. So because those ones had the biggest absolute value, there'd be more of them left over. So that's why this one is negative, but this was positive. Alright, so I'm going to do an example from each section here to kind of show you what each section is looking for. So this first section is looking for something similar to what we were doing up above. We want to look at how many negatives there are, how many positives there are. We're going to write kind of the expression here. So in this first one, there is negative 7 plus negative 9. How many negatives are there all total? Negative 16. So in class we can go ahead and try the rest of those problems. Here we're actually going backwards. They've given us the number sentence, but they want us to show the positive negative signs to represent it. This would be a way that you could always fall back upon if you needed to when trying to figure out these equations. So we have negative 3, 1, 2, 3, and negative 4, negative 1, 2, 3, 4 dashes. So how many negatives do we have all total? We have 7. In number 14, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 negatives, and 1, 2, 3 positives. You could do the cancellation here if you'd like, and see that there are 6 negatives left over, so our answer will be -6. Continue in that fashion. We'll do more of those in class as well. And at this point, we're just going to stick with, we need to be able to do these without having to do a visual. If you need to do a couple of them on your own separately, you can, but we'll try to be able to just solve problems like this, and we'll practice examples like this one in these ones in class.